Well, we got kicked off the air yesterday because the Seahawks were on, which I had no problem with. At the same time, I'm not watching.
Rob's out.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man.
He refused to watch preseason.
Well, the
football.
Raiders played Aiden O'Connell, I think.
He was terrible.
Yeah, well, that's because he's Aiden O'Connell.
He went 18-30 with 2 picks.
And the Seahawks played Drew Lock,
and then they gave way to Milroe in the second half.
How'd Milroe look?
He looked all right. I mean, he was like 6 of 10, 60 yards. Had a nice scramble where he ran for...
It's a 27-yard
gain, something like that.
He also had a nice little, he was in the red zone, rolled out to his right and hit a guy on a crossing route for a first down. It was okay,
just, The first half I'll watch.
Right.
I mean, it's not supposed to be a good thrower.
Okay.
He got it inside of coverage in between 3 defenders.
Yeah, the first half I think you can watch and you can kind of get a general feel. You watch in the second half, I mean, you want some rookies to pop. I mean, the Seahawks were up big, and the Raiders came back and tied it. The Raiders were doing nothing when the actual starters were in, but Geno Smith only played a handful of snaps. Like, he threw 3 passes. So I'll tell you what, like, the Seahawks looked pretty sharp, and the Raiders did not. Take of that what you will, but I think if you're a Seahawks fan, I think there was a lot to like.
Well, what do I take of that? I mean, I don't know what to make of that.
Okay, the Seahawks offensive line looked good. Like, when you're coming in and you're looking for kind of development, this season will hinge on whether the O-line in a new system. So I think with Kubiak's new offense, I thought Gray Zabel, the rookie, looked pretty good. Sam Darnold had a lot of time to throw. They were running a lot of that stuff we've seen in a Shanahan offense, a lot of that wide zone scheme, plenty of time to throw back there for Drew Lock. I think Torrey Holton. God, I keep wanting to say Torrey.
You want to say Torrey Holt?
Torrey Holt.
Wait, the great Torrey Holt is back?
No, he's
Horton.
Not.
He was the pick out of Colorado State. He blew out his knee last year, and we didn't even know if he was going to be able to play at all. 5th round pick, and he's been stellar in camp. He had 3 big catches, including a touchdown. I thought Arroyo looked good at the tight end spot, and the defense in the first half was suffocating. So I just think there was a lot to like. For what a preseason game was, I think Mike McDonald and company are looking at that today saying, that's a really good outing for us. And I think if you're the Raiders, that you were hoping for a better showing than that.
Well, somebody, I think it was, who's the Seahawks scribe?
Brady Henderson, maybe?
Older guy. Can't remember. I follow him on the tweets, and he was saying that it looked like the Raiders hadn't tackled.
Yeah, it was bad.
And after the game, I think Pete Carroll said that they had not tackled in practice yet.
Well, it showed.
Yeah.
They did not look sharp, and the Seahawks did.
So I don't...
They had a couple picks.
But they should look sharp against that.
Yes.
So I don't... Again, this is why preseason, it's like, what do I...
Well, and then
what am I looking for?
Well,
here?
and I think you look for development from the young guys. I think you want to see some depth, like George Holani, who's a 2nd-year back out of Boise State. He looked really good. He had 8 touches, 81 yards.
But what I'm saying is he looked really good against a Raiders team that hasn't...
Sure.
That obviously didn't care about the game and hasn't tackled.
But when you're hearing about Horton, you're hearing about Holani in practice, and people are saying, hey, these guys are showing out in practice. This looks good. And then when you see it go out, same thing with like Zabel, and you're like, hey, these are things in practice and in the scrimmages that we're hearing positive vibes, and they come out when it matters. Yes, against lesser competition, and the Raiders certainly didn't play good at all. And that shows itself on film. That's all you can do is continue to show that you belong. And I think there were some real positive signs. If I'm a Seahawks fan, not that questions get answered, but I think you're seeing a team that looked prepared to play, and I think has taken some steps.
How the hell did they tie with them?
Well, you get into the second half, and then all bets are off, because then you're playing guys in the second half that are not on NFL rosters. At that point, it really is individuals just trying to fight for a handful of roster spots or to stick around on a scout team. So when you get to the second half, you can't take anything from a team concept. That is individuals just trying to prove that they belong or put out some good tape for eventually when you're cut or end up on a practice squad that someone else wants to pick you up.
I read where Ashton Genty had 3 carries for -1 yard.
Yeah, and on 2 of them, like he
Why only 3 carries though?
because they only played their starters and not even all their starters. They've only
So
played.
he didn't really. He wasn't even a.
He wasn't even a factor. And twice when he took the ball, he literally had to make a spin move as soon as he took the ball because someone was at his feet. The Seahawks defense was suffocating. The Raiders offense looked very, very poor.
So undefeated?
I think it'll be an interesting. I think it'll be an interesting division. The only thing I'll say about Seattle, I think their defense is going to be a top 5 or 6 defense in the NFL. Offense wise, let's be honest. People talk like their tackles are solidified. They are not. Abe Lucas can never stay healthy, and Charles Cross is good, not great. And last year I thought he took a step backwards. You put Zabel in at left guard. He's a rookie, but you're hearing good things. But last year, depending on which ranking tool you want to use, this was either the 29th or the 31st worst offensive line in football. And Gray Zabel doesn't make it that much better. So you still have question marks on the offensive line, and you replaced your 2 top receivers and you replaced your quarterback. Generally speaking, and by the way, your tight end. And I know that you let him go and you feel good about Arroyo and some of the other guys you have. But generally speaking, when you make wholesale changes like that on offense, it usually means probably a little bit of a step back or at least some growing pains. So we know Seattle is not going to be bad. They just aren't, because the last handful of years, this is a 9-win team. They're a game away from the postseason. And I think the defense making a step, and it's going to for year 2 under McDonald, their defense is going to keep them in ball games. So I think the floor for Seattle is 9 games. And can they win 1 or 2 more and get into the playoffs? I think that's a very real possibility.
So their over-under win total is 8.5.
And that's,
but you got to pay minus 140 for that.
Yeah. So I think the floor is 9 games and you miss the playoffs by a game. And I think the ceiling is, I think is probably a wild card and maybe 1 win in the postseason. But when you run into the elite teams, I just don't think there's going to be the firepower to get it done.
What 2 divisions do they get? Non-con.
Their schedule is they get
the AFC South, or the NFC South.
Yeah.
And
so they get their schedule. They start out with the Niners, and then they get the Steelers, Saints, Cards, Bucks.
I thought you got 2 divisions non-conference. Am I wrong about that? You only get 1 division, and
you
then
only get 1 division, and then
the
spread
rest
out.
is...
Yep. So you get...
Yeah, because you get everyone in your division twice. You
Yeah.
get one
division.
AFC division, and then you get some sprinkled NFC.
Yeah. So they get Niners, Steelers, Saints, Cards, Bucks, Jags, Texans, Commanders, Cards, Rams, Titans, Vikings, Falcons, Colts, Rams, and then you finish off with Carolina and San Francisco.
So they get the NFC South.
Yes.
Which is
It's a bad division. Yes.
And then their others are
Pittsburgh,
Tampa.
No,
that's NFC South. Jacksonville, Houston,
Commanders,
the Commies. Yeah, so okay.
Yeah.
Not great, not bad. I was just thinking because the NFC West is going to probably be pretty competitive.
I think it's going to be very competitive.
I mean, Arizona's better.
Some people really like
the Rams are the favorite.
Yes.
And then you got the Niners, who you shouldn't count out.
No. If Matthew Stafford's back holds up, I think the Rams are a Super Bowl team. I think that has everything except for a quarterback that isn't 1,000 years old with herniated discs. But it's going to be a very competitive division. I think Seattle's going to be in that mix. And I just think this is a better team than what we've seen the last 2 years, and they've been a game away. So I think Seattle makes the postseason. I don't think they make a lot of noise in the postseason, but this to me is a playoff team.